What up, y'all? It's Mr. X to the Z Xzibit, and we are rocking in New York City. It's the Kingmaker sessions on AllHipHop.com. Peace.
Yeah. What's going on, world? It's your man Chuck Creekmur, aka Jigsaw.
Yes, yes.
One World Studios here with my man.
DJ Thorough, aka Throwzano, Bridge to the Streets.
And we are here with a special guest. It's been a long time, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Mr. X to the Z Xzibit.
What up, man? What's good with it? Good, man. I'm good.
Yo,
Yeah,
thank you for pulling up, man.
No, thank you for having me, man.
Yeah.
Long time knowing you guys.
Yeah.
Long time, coming on the site and seeing the site grow.
Thank you.
And following you guys, we family.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Respect.
Man, first of all, man, I just want to congratulate you on the work you put in 2024. 2024 was an epic year for hip-hop, period.
Yes.
Hands down. It wasn't a lot that could get through the Kendrick Drake stuff, some of the Stadoshi and some of the other things going on, but you managed to make a huge impression last year with just a few songs, not even an album.
Yeah. I think when it was time to finish the record and then we decided to start rolling it out, I felt like I needed to reintroduce myself to making music again, to the fans, to the people who had been following me, the people who didn't really know I did music. You know what I'm saying? So So when we did Play This at My Funeral, that's actually the first song on the new album, the whole album Kingmaker, and so I felt like, as an intro, a State of the Union, it was fitting to roll that out, and it worked. A lot of people were glad to hear me back, and it was it was good. It's a song that's kind of unorthodox because it doesn't have hooks.
Right.
It's just straight bars all the way through. And I think that's what I want to bring back to my entrance into the music. Yeah.
Now, do you literally want people to play that song at your funeral?
Maybe. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it depends. It depends on when that happens.
All right.
Nah, it was a dope video too, man. Like, that was a part of the rollout. The video was high quality. You could look at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, some videos I don't even pay attention to. It's just like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
But the video production matched up with the audio production, the bars, everything just worked perfectly.
Yeah.
Now, I know you have a new label situation. Can you talk a little bit about that, how that came about?
Yeah, man. We are putting this out through Greenback Records. It's a new venture, founded by Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor has his hands in all kinds of stuff, but he really loves music. And when we were finishing the record, I was like, well, how are we going to distribute it? I looked at a lot of things that were happening. I looked at the majors. I looked at the independents. I looked at, the different routes that people are doing, with, I'm a big fan of La Russell. La Russell is doing his thing. I saw the way he's doing it, but, we good over there? Yeah. So, So then when it happened, Bobby D brought this opportunity. Who's my management?
Okay.
He brought this opportunity to work with Conor McGregor, and so I was kind of skeptical, but then I sat down with his team, and saw the vision behind the label, saw what they're doing, and the beauty about putting this out through Greenback Records is that there's no level of expectation, right? Everything we do is a first. So being the first artist out through there, I'm kind of paving a way, and it feels good to be able to kind of do it my way.
Yeah.
And the people are not getting in my way creatively, and there's no jaded kind of record politics that they got to deal with or anything to compare it to. So it feels good to be able to be a trailblazer in that sense.
Yeah. Have you been a fan of his as an MMA fighter, or were you following his career in that way?
I mean, of course. I mean, who doesn't know Conor McGregor? Yeah. But as far as following him on like that kind of thing, no. Yeah. The fact that he wanted to do this type of music and not only just hip hop, it has other type of genres on the label. But to be able to, see his vision, hear him, we went out to Marbella, Spain to meet him. And it was like a bare knuckle boxing event. That was my first time meeting him in person. Okay. And so, yeah, I mean, he's really behind it.
Yeah.
It's not like he just slapping his name on a product and then going on about his business. So, yeah, man, I think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be good because we're going to be able to balance our worlds together, you know, because it's an odd couple.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's an odd thing.
Yeah.
But I like that. You know what I'm saying? I like it. Yeah, it's different.
It's good seeing the ability for him to bring like a more mainstream audience to you as well.
Right.
Does that mean anything to you? Because I mean, a lot of independent artists kind of suffer. They get swallowed up in the grind of the digital era or the lack of outlets. There's no MTV or BET like it used to be, at least. Does it help in a more mainstream way? But you bringing your thing to the table, so there's no compromise. I don't see it. If there is,
Yeah, no, I think the attraction of being able to work with Conor McGregor and Greenback is that he is shooting over people's heads. He's a fighter. I'm a fighter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In my own sense, and I've always been the underdog, and I think the audience is going to be what it is. I mean, some people love him or hate him.
Yeah.
He's still going to be Conor McGregor. Love me or hate me, I'm still going to be me. And I think it's dope to be able to use his megaphone.
Yeah.
You know, he's promoting these records like he's promoting a fight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I love it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I love that, man. I love being able to do something that's not in the books, that hasn't been done before. And I don't want to get caught up in the politics of trying to, I just not good at kissing ass. You know what I'm saying? And so there's a lot of ass kissing and hand holding in hip hop. And if you don't play the game, then you don't get in certain rooms or certain doors don't open. We passed all of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we get to be able to go front street and we don't have to, ask nobody for permission to be here.
Boom.
Yeah.
There it is.
Right. Now, it's been 2010 since your last project?
2012.
2012.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, do you have to be inspired to put out a project? Because that's a lot of time to go by. Why has it been so long since you dropped music?
Well, I mean, I've been doing other things, film, television projects. I was on Empire for like 3 years. I was opening different businesses in California.
Right.
And I have to be inspired to do music.
Right.
I just don't want to be out there to be out there.
Right.
I feel like, and it took me a long time to figure out what I want to say. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could do a whole bunch of gunslinging raps and to talk shit. Yeah, but I don't think the game needs that now.
Right.
I think there's a lot of, you can sit back and be, disgruntled about the state of hip hop, right? And especially from our era, from our graduating class, right? Or you could do something about it. I think that, it's like put up or shut up time.
Right.
There's a lot of mindless music out. There's a lot of filler out. And I think the message, and there's nothing wrong with that, because even when we were first putting records out, it was like fluff music out too.
Right.
But I think the issue is the senior voices, the people who've been through this, the people who have already traveled the path that these new artists are trying to go, are not getting the information that they need in order to feel confident about being original and being different. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. So, like the piggyback over what you're saying, like when we was coming up, you had a choice. You know what I mean? It was proportionally even. Like you had soft rap, but then you had, like, I could listen to Ice Cube, but then I could listen to Tribe Called Quest.
Correct.
I could listen to the Alcoholics, but then I could listen to De La Soul.
Right.
Now everybody's on the same level in terms of the mainstream music or whatever. So I think a lot of people feel that they got to do that, can't be themselves, be original, or represent where they're actually from.
I think people are chasing the success, and not chasing the creative, elevation.
Right.
I think the diversity of what the voices were and the messaging was in hip hop has changed dramatically. Everybody wants to have this super roller coaster ride to success and the hey, look at me contest. You know what I'm saying? Like I've just never been that guy, but I pride myself on loving the music. Right. Not loving the success. If the money comes.
Right.
If that's what you're here for, then put something in the game that doesn't exist, and the money will come. Yeah. But if you just doing whatever and however, and the antics are bigger than your music, then I don't know if hip hop needs to be turned into like the World Wrestling Federation. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know if that needs to happen.
Right. And then you spoke about doing other things like your businesses. You want to speak on your involvement with the cannabis business because you've been very successful with that. You know what I mean? Like, I think you open up a dispensary or you have things like that going on. Speak on that.
I started with some brands.
Okay.
The brands were fire. You know, I got the experience from there. And retail was the natural next step. I ended up partnering with a group of guys that really know what they're doing. And so my marketing, branding, you know, I was like, you know, instead of selling one brand, let's just sell everybody's stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
So we got 2 stores currently in LA, Xzibit's West Coast Cannabis.
Okay.
You know,
Plug.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we got the first store in Bel Air,
Okay.
and the second store is in Chatsworth.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. You said that properly.
Yeah.
Chatsworth.
Yeah.
Anything else civilized?
Right. Nah, that's dope. You know, when you talk about, how do I say this without being disrespectful? But I feel like it was a shift last year. I feel like, you know, not to bring up Kendrick and Drake because, you know, it's a dead horse in a way. But at the same time, I feel like it was a culture war. It was ideologies clashing. You know what I'm saying? And unapologetic, you said that word, and I think you did. But being unapologetically hip hop is something that I don't think enough people stand on. Or being like, yeah, I'm gonna sit this out for a few years, or I don't really have nothing to say right now. Let me just relax and just enjoy the ride. How hard is it for you to do that? And also on the same tip, I love how you put messages in the music. It's just it's not corny. It's not. You said y'all need to read some books.
Yeah.
And I love that line, bro, because I got a stack of books by my nightstand.
Yeah.
I ain't reading every one of them at the same time, but I got them in the queue.
Yeah.
I know that's like 3 questions in one, but it's dope seeing a mature but not corny, not preachy dude rapping still.
Well, we're the first. We're the first generation of, you know, hip hop is only 50 years old.
Yeah, facts.
So we're the first. Like there's nothing before us to compare it to.
Yeah.
So now you got to go back. Part of that question is, you know, hip hop is the only thing that has ageism, right?
Yeah.
I'm glad you're speaking on that.
And so you know, you don't hear that in country, you don't hear that in R&B, you don't hear that, you know, the rock and roll, the Rolling Stones are still touring to this day. But for some reason in hip hop, if you know, live past, you know, 25, then nigga, you an old head. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, you know, I think first of all, nobody owns hip hop. Nobody tells you when to start, nobody tells you when to stop.
Yeah.
Right? As long as I have the inspiration to make music, I'm gonna make it.
Yeah.
Right? Now you can try to compare it or tear it down or do whatever you want to do, compare it to, oh, well, he didn't sell like this guy, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, but you know, we living in an age where things can be manufactured, things can be altered, things, you know, perception is king. And so I feel like me putting out music right now is because I have something to say. Right? I don't know if this is going to be my last album, my second to last. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to be the one to figure out when that time is to transition into something else, right? But for right now, I love the music. I still love it.
Yeah.
I still love creating it. I still love being able to come up with something and push myself harder. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, you know, my music now is more coherent and more and better, in my opinion, than the records that I put out before. You know, but it's not about. See, I run my race my own way, and I'm not here to, you know, compare my success to somebody else's and figure out, oh, well, you know, I'm not, you know, selling bazillion records, so maybe I shouldn't do this. That's not the goal. Right. My goal is to put something on the table that defines my journey and defines my character. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so that's what it's about, man. Yeah. I think, you know, being able to put messages in my music and that's why I call the album Kingmaker. I called it Kingmaker because it's a transfer of information. It's not about, you know, putting on a crown or sitting, you know, I'm the king. Or, no, it's nothing that. These are the ideologies. These are the characteristics. These are the habits. These are the things that have made me successful, good, bad, or indifferent. These are the things that made me get out of the situation that I started from, which was very dire, to be a global brand. And people, from 8 to 80 know Xzibit, whether they know me from music, whether they know me from Pimp My Ride, whether they know me from movies, but they know me.
Yeah.
And it could have been so different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I'm proud of that. You know what I'm saying? And so now that's why I put these things into the music, because I think, going back to what we was talking about earlier, everybody's chasing this success thing, and they think that success is being rich or being or having a bunch of chains on, or you know what I'm saying, or having a certain car, or or having a bunch of women or a bunch of niggas, and like it's different. There's people that go through that phase. I had that phase. You know what I'm saying? I used to roll with 1,000 people, and and everybody's but lawsuits is a mother. You know what I'm saying? And it usually be the people around you that get you in the lawsuits. Yeah.
Not even you.
Yeah, so you live and learn, but at the end of the day, it's an expression. Hip hop is my expression. Yeah. Some people paint, some people write, but hip hop saved my life. Right?
Right.
And so that's why I feel like I owe my fans this album. Yeah. I couldn't leave my legacy where it was.
Right.
I had to come back and say, like, hey guys, this is where I'm at now. Right?
Do you was there one thing? Was there a thing that got you back to being inspired? And if there was, what was it?
It was a couple things. I was kind of stagnant for a while. I wasn't really doing nothing, and then I went and I was coming back from Empire. I just rapped. I was done, and I called. The first person I called was Tato, Dante Kid, aka Tato. I made the first call to him, and I met with him, and he was doing Tato TV, and I was like, listen, what do you think about working with me, managing? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's put something together. I saw what he was doing with Game. Okay. Game, by far one of our greats out in the West. And Tato, every time I saw him, he was very professional. He was very, because I was starting from zero.
Right.
So I went and we sat down, and he said, let's go do this. And we started there, and then we started like getting on the road. Then I started making music. And then from there, it was just like, one thing after another, another. I started and stopped this album maybe like 5 times. I started the album, and then I was like, it's not it.
Yeah.
Then you got a couple songs. There's only one song on the album that made it from the first batch of records.
Really?
One.
What song is that?
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll let you, when you hear the whole thing, I'm going to let you be like, it was this one. All right. But then, so the last time Tato brought in this guy called Duke, with producer Big Duke, and he brought this engineer called Quest. And then, but the energy between us three, it just sparked something that just all them records started just flowing.
Okay.
So everything that you hear on Kingmaker now was done within the last, 6 to 8 months. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Except one.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was like, the energy felt right. It was like the things that were happening, and then it just started happening. Like people started piling on. And then that's where we are now. So it was a process to get here, but I didn't want to put it out until it was ready. Right. Yeah.
Now, you came from the legendary umbrella Loud Records. You came up out of Loud Records. Like, I want to go back to your history. Who we had? Mobb Deep, Wu-Tang, Raekwon,
yeah, MOP, yeah,
President,
yeah, Funk Flex,
yeah. Legendary class, and a lot of those records were like. Each one of those artists put out at least a classic song, if not a whole
Did you say Alcoholics?
Alcoholics.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Come on. Shout out to Tash.
3 6 Mafia was on there.
Yeah. I mean, that whole umbrella was
crazy.
That was a legendary artist.
Yeah.
How did you even get signed to Loud? Like, how did that happen?
Through the Alcoholics.
Yeah.
There was an East Coast office, a West Coast office.
Okay.
Right? East Coast office was always shit on the West Coast office.
That era, right?
Yo.
So we were the stepchildren, and then we would get field trips to the East Coast office. We'd be like, wow, look at all this stuff in here. You know what I'm saying? But it was dope, man. I'm just like, I never made a demo. I never made a mixtape. I only got featured on Damn, which was one of the Alcoholic singles.
Right.
And I just did the word damn. I didn't rap or nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay.
And then the first feature I had was on King T's fourth album, King T for Life.
For Life? Okay.
And it was a song called Freestyle Ghetto. And that was like my first time hearing myself on the radio or something, whatever.
Shout
right?
out King T.
Right. And then, so King T gave all of us our first start. He created the Alcoholics.
Yeah.
And then he saw something in me that kind of like, he wanted to bring me on to keep going. And so that was my first feature. And from there, Steve was like, I want to sign you.
You want to sign?
Right?
Wow.
And so I got signed in 95. And then as soon as I got my budget open and I went to the studio, the first song I ever recorded was Paparazzi.
Paparazzi? That was your first record?
First
wow.
record. As soon as the lights came on and the board came up,
sometimes the first one was it.
That was the first song I ever recorded.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Crazy.
I didn't know that was the first one you ever recorded.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
And that was a single.
That was a single.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But I mean, I didn't know. I thought I knew what I wanted to say, but for hip hop, that was my intention. Here's my intention. Right. Here's what I want to bring to hip hop. Here's how I feel about hip hop, and that's what that song is about. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, because we were like super backpack.
Yeah.
Right, I was gonna ask you
Super
about
backpack.
that. Right.
We walk around with notepads in our backpacks. Like it was like, and then we walk up to people that just would dress like us and be like, "Hey, you rhyme?"
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You want hey, you rhyme?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Like, ciphers everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
That we come from that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, yeah.
How is that? The West Coast at that time was really known for G-Funk, Dr. Dre's movement, and before, NWA, et cetera, et cetera. But then you guys came out along, Souls of Mischief was kind of in the same, vein.
Far Side.
Just bars.
Yeah.
Far Side, yeah. And I would imagine, well, let me not say what it was, but, it feels like you guys were going against the grain. You weren't really East Coast, but it was very much respected on the East Coast.
I think you hit it on the head because it was right after the Death Row era, right after the G-Funk era, and we loving the hip hop because we used to have this club called Unity, and Bigger B, rest in peace. He worked in the LA office, and he had a club that would promote with Orlando, and he would bring artists out. That was the first time we see Old Dirty Bastard, Wu-Tang. The first time we saw, anybody from anywhere else would come and perform at that club.
Right.
So the Hop was where we was at, and so the artists that came out of that club, Will.i.am, Planet Asia. It was the Alcoholics. It was Crooked Eye. It was Razzcats.
Oh,
it was, you know what I'm saying? Like we all came out of this same place.
Right.
And so to be able to I guess we had to coin our own lane, right? So they used to call us backpack rappers or whatever, but we started calling ourselves West Coast lyricists. Because now when we started selling records, people didn't know what to call us because it wasn't this and it wasn't that. So we became West Coast lyricists, and that was our lane, you know what I'm saying? And that's why our family tree came from.
What molded you into that lane? Like, before you started rapping, who were you listening to? Like,
oh, man. I listened to Poor Righteous Teachers.
Rock this funky joint.
Yeah. I listened to Rakim, Big Daddy Kane. I listened to, I listen to everything, man.
Right.
Down south, you know what I'm saying? DJ Magic Mike, Poison Clan.
Magic Mike, Poison Clan, JT.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Come on, man.
Come on.
Like I was at Cypress Hill. I would listen to everything, and of course the staples. I listen to Ice Cube, NWA, and all that stuff. But I would go deep dive. You know what I'm saying? Like I would listen to Paris. You know what I'm
Devil
saying?
Made Me Do It.
Yeah.
He be saying some stuff.
Yeah, deep dive. You know what I'm saying? And so I was a fan of the culture, and I was a fan of I always could appreciate, because I read a lot of books as well. I always could appreciate somebody who could put something together that was clever, and it had double entendres, or they speaking something with some intelligence. You can tell, not just sticking in the 5-word category. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, that's a fact. Yeah.
And so I was a big fan of that.
Right.
So I would listen to everything that came out, and and so when I started writing my own raps, that's what I was attracted to. I wanted to emulate that. I wanted to stay in that lane. Right. It wasn't about I want to write the toughest raps in the world. I was like, I want to write the rhymes that I'm attracted to. Right. You know what I'm saying? And that was with cleverness, with metaphors, with understanding the meaning of words and being able to paint a picture that like, oh, unique. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Just got so much to talk about here.
Yeah.
West Coast. You evolved into getting down with Dre, Aftermath. The sound changed a little bit, you know what I mean? But the aggression and the style of your lyricism didn't necessarily change. But it felt like you were part of a rebirth, even of your own career. It seemed like. I mean, you weren't signed to them, but you were down with them. Right. How did that impact your career at all?
That being involved, first of all, Bitch Please was the first thing, my first interaction working with Dre, Snoop, all those guys, right? And then my work ethic allowed me to be invited back to do more.
Okay,
right.
Got you.
And there was a point where Jimmy and Dre went and tried to sign me. Okay. And God bless him, Steve Rifkin. He said, Xzibit's my son. Xzibit is like my son. We started together. We're gonna finish together.
Yeah. All right. How'd you feel?
Listen, it's better now. I'm better now. I'm better now.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen.
Okay.
And so at the time I knew I was like, this would have completed the cycle, but I was able to work with them in a capacity that it was beneficial to both of us, right? And so being on Loud, and then transitioning over to Sony Columbia because they bought Loud, right? Right. And they and being able to put records out with Dr. Dre executive produced on it, which has not happened for anyone else outside that camp. Right. It made a big statement regardless that Dr. Dre would executive produce my albums even if I'm on Sony, and he hasn't done it, and it's not owned by Interscope. So would I have loved to have been on Aftermath? Yes. Yeah. I think that would have been a different type of battery in my back. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. That's
right. Right. But the influence in the records that we did make had a tremendous impact on my life. Yeah. Right. And so I will always be grateful for that opportunity. I will always, be grateful to Dr. Dre for allowing me to come and be in that circle. And I mean, like Up in Smoke, arguably one of the biggest tours, still to this day. Not the size of it, but just the magnitude of the artists that were on it and the things that we were able to do with that record, 2001. It was amazing.
And the Restless.
Yeah, that. And speaking of 2001, The Chronic, a bunch of LA.
Yeah.
What was that session like? Because now everybody emails, everybody's in the studio together. Yeah. Were you guys like actually in the studio rocking out? Do you remember how that worked?
Yeah, the thing, some LA you talking about the
song?
LA okay, yeah. So Dre put the beat up, and it had the 13th note in it. The 13th note is silence. So so he calls that
you learned something. The 13th note.
Yeah, he called that the 13th note because from the age of for thousands of years, there's only been 12 notes in music, right? So the 13th note is silence, and if you can perfect that, then it does something strange to the music, right? So he wanted everybody to stay in that pocket, but he also wanted everybody to start their rhyme off with a classic West Coast hip hop song, right? So I did mine volunteer. I was raised in a hood called What the Def, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I remember those.
Yeah.
There were specific things that he wanted to have every MC do, right?
Okay.
And so, Yeah, we was in there, and then he was like, "Hey, man, you know, I need another MC in here," so I called the Far Ride. That's why the Far Ride's on the song, right? And so it was really dope to be able to now, instead of him directing the ship, you know what I'm saying? Like he's allowing us to come in there and he's asking my creative opinion, which hadn't happened before.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And I was like, oh. Getting good.
Yeah.
He trusts my ear. You know what I'm saying?
That's dope.
Yeah, so we built a really dope relationship, and that's my brother outside of music, and we talk a lot, and it is what it is, man.
Right.
Like it's good.
Speaking of brothers, I just want to take a minute to shout out Saafir.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Yeah, and you dropped his name in the song "Peace to Rast and Saafir," and then he passed after that, and that stung everybody, man. I mean, he was an amazing artist, and you guys rode hard. And I always, it's funny, man. 3 Car Molly, I listen to that every week, at least once a week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to, just shout him out, man.
Yeah, man. Saafir, man, Big Reggie. The Golden State Project was the super group of the time for us. We had Razzcast, Elite MC, Saafir, Elite MC. I was wanted to pull something together because I've always wanted to be in a group. Right? I always wanted to be in a group, and every time I would get in a group, it would fall apart. You're like,
right.
Like the egos or whatever.
For whatever reason, you know what I'm saying. But it wasn't never ego. You know what I'm saying? Like I consider myself pretty easy to get along with, and Raz is dope. I think we all had different type of styles because when we were young, just starting out. Everybody had their own thought of how we gonna get there. Right. And so not everybody jailed together. Everybody was like, well, I don't know about you, but I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? And so everybody was trying their way. But for some reason, me, Raz, and Saafir got together, and even though our styles were completely different, when we got on the track together, it worked. Right? And so, when we did 3 Car Molly, I was like, yo, let's do. And then Plastic Surgery actually was the first one.
Gotcha.
Right.
Plastic Surgery turned into 3 Car Molly, and then 3 Car Molly turned into let's do a group.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, cool, man. But it didn't come to fruition. But I love the first time I heard Saafir, it was a song called Battle Trio.
Okay.
And the way he floated over that was something I never heard before.
Right.
So, Boxcar Sessions is where that album that song is on that album. And when I heard Battle Drill, I was like, I gotta meet this guy. I had it on a cassette tape, and I was in Detroit when I heard it. I was with my uncle. I was like, listen to this. You know what I'm saying? I was like, don't. And so when I met him, I was like, yo, I'm a big fan, He was like, and then when I met him, he was nothing like I imagined him to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And what was that?
Yeah, I thought he was like me. You know what I'm saying? Like backpack, all he wanted to do was rap. Like that nigga does not give a about rap.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
wow.
But now, big saucy. You know what I'm saying? He was his spirit was different. He's like West Oakland, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he was that to the core.
Yeah.
Right.
And Oakland is different, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody think West Coast is LA, but no, it go all the way up, you know what I'm saying, up to Canada.
Yeah.
And so Saafir he carried that. It was in his spirit, his aura. And we loved him, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Yo, I want to take the time. I want to give this man his flowers because he never abandoned his identity.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, your new single, "Shut Your Mouth," right?
Yeah.
You got Battle Cat.
Yes.
Yeah.
You see the visuals. You know where he's from before you even hear the record. If you put the video on mute, that's West Coast.
Yeah.
He never abandoned your identity. I see so many artists from my era. I'm like, you from where?
Yeah.
Why you rhyming like that?
Yeah.
Why you talking like that?
Yeah.
That's not your culture.
Thank you.
So
man.
I want to commend you on that.
Thank you, brother.
Now, is that conscious? That's just who you are? Like, do you ever feel the need to venture out into maybe doing something that's not West Coast sounding, or just who you are, and that's indicative to who you are?
I think that's a good question, but I think that no matter what I do, because I've done rock songs,
right?
I've done songs with Linkin Park. I've done songs with you know, Within Temptation, which is like a gothic rock band. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've done other things, but I've always brought where I'm from,
to it.
Right. You know?
Yeah, right. To your world.
Yeah. I mean, once you get on in the West, you're on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think I don't want to go anywhere else. I don't want to do anything else. You know what I'm saying? I want to coexist with other artists. I want to coexist with other sounds. But I'm always gonna have a W. Right. Understand? Like a Superman cape. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like you change it. Look, we can go into different environments, but we bring that with us. Right. Okay. You know, the West Coast has given me a life and a direction and purpose that I will never disrespect or turn my back on.
I think when you do that, it makes it to where you have to travel. Because I came up in the era when I was a kid. I have cousins in Compton, Athens Park, and all that. So when I go out there, I'm in a whole nother culture. Yeah. So I don't want to go out there and listening to what y'all what we're doing. I want to hear something different.
Yeah,
same
absolutely.
when people come to New York when we had the tunnel, all these clubs. Like,
I love the tunnel.
Right, you're gonna hear you
went to the tunnel.
What?
Sorry. What? Sorry. My bad.
Yo, I went to the tunnel. It was so legendary. When you come to New York, you gotta go to certain things, right? You gotta go to the concourse. Big Snag took me to the concourse. You know what I'm saying? I went up to bouncing around the studios. Going to the tunnel was big, right? And so going through the metal detectors, and then going in, and then everybody's packed wall to wall. And, you know, Flex come on at like 1, 2 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was dope to, you know, and then eventually there's footage of this somewhere.
Yeah, there's footage. Yeah, there's a documentary on Tubi.
We performed at the tunnel. It was like Dre, Snoop, us. You know what I'm saying? Like it was right before we went out on the Up and Smoke tour. Okay, and crazy. Boy, man, it was like a full circle moment. So I got some real like dope moments in hip hop in my life that happened in New York. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Now, before we wrap, I want to ask you, as a man, you know, some of your ups and downs, your personal trials and tribulations have played out on social. You know, you shared.
News.
Yeah, like a lot. You know what I mean? Like it's been documented.
A lot of that shit.
Which, by the way, man, I appreciate it, right? Because you know we talk about man things and personal things in the studio, and then you see someone like yourself kind of going through it, working through it. I said the same thing to Redman. Yeah. We had an amazing 2-hour interview processing things as men. This is the first time. Some of us don't have our fathers to lean on or anyone. Right. You know what I'm saying? So first of all, I want to say thank you, right? Yeah. Because some of the stuff you was going through, I was going through at this like the same time. Yeah. But for the question is, it's kind of like, how does that flow into the art? How does that work in tandem with the art and your fan base?
Yeah. Thank God I had my father in my life. Okay. You know, he passed away. But the things that he instilled in me are concrete and solid and without resolve. You know, I know I can always rely on my moral compass that I got from him. He was a military guy, and he was very he was strict in a way that he wanted me to have self-discipline. You know, and so the things that I go through in life, I try to do it with grace. I try to do it with class. Even, you know, you don't have to answer everybody, right? And then you don't always have to be right. But, you know, my job is not to publicly defend myself against accusations that, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't really do shit anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like the things that people come at me about are, you know, usually financial, right? Even when they say they're coming at me about personal stuff, is about money. You know what I'm saying? And so what I've learned to do is to carry myself and let my character speak louder than my words. Right? I don't need to. I don't. You know, people have put things that aren't true about me all over. You know, the social media, all over television, all this, and people love to report bad news. Yeah. Even when they wrong, they don't like the correction is way quieter than the finger point. Yeah. And so I know that about things. You know what I'm saying? I don't think all press is good press. You know what I'm saying? But I also don't let that define my actions and steps. Yeah. I think that having the kind of career that I've had and being able to be here as long as I have and be able to casually go into other genres without even, missing a step and then coming back to things that I love. Not a lot of people can do that. That's a gift, And so I let that speak louder than the naysayers. And here's another thing. We always give more attention to the people who don't love us than the people who do. Like if you look at people on social media, you could have 1,000 comments saying, "Man, you're great. Yeah. Man, you're absolutely great. Yeah. I love you." Yeah. And then the one comment, "Man, you," and you want to respond to that, right? You want to talk to that, oh, you, and you looking at his page like you ain't,
right. Bro, that's I'm taking it for granted.
Yo, you ignored 1,000 other people that you could have been saying thank you to, and then you would have I think not everybody's gonna like you. Not everybody's gonna love you. Love who loves you.
Yeah. Right. And support who support you.
Absolutely.
Right. Now before we go, I gotta do this. Being a car dude, I gotta do this. I gotta do it.
Please don't ask me to pimp you around.
No, I know. All right. Real quick.
Come on.
57 Impala, 64 Impala. You can only drive one forever. Which one?
57.
All right. Hydraulics, airbags.
Hydraulics.
Yeah. Hard top, rag. All right. That's
X. I want to. First of all, I'll say thank you, man. We didn't get into strong arm steady. We didn't get to talk about the serial killer. We got to get into it
next time.
But I just want to say, man, appreciate you, bro.
I mean that,
bro.
Yeah, Creek, thank you,
one of the illest.
Thank you, brother.
Ever.
Yeah, man.
Ever,
thank you,
bro.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, man.
Shout out my guy Puerto Rico Rob in the building.
The illest chain, by the way.
I
Yo.
I keep it old school, man.
Yeah,
Human link.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Only built for. You know what I mean?